Welcome back, everyone, to the 2024 Beach Pro Tour Player Awards. If you heard giggles before I walked in, it was because producer 2, Austin's on Mewhirter. He's the one who actually hit record. So thank you, as always, to producer 1 and producer 2 and producer 3, who's due in February, for setting up our FSU studios and getting the Beach Pro Tour Player Awards going. Now, a quick note before we get into the intro, kind of the year-end recap, and then the awards themselves of how these awards work. So with about a month left to go in the regular season, I send a form out to everyone in the IBVPA, which is just the International Players Union, and I ask for nominees for all 10 categories. And the 4 most nominated players or teams are then sent into the final rounds of votings. In some case, only 3 individuals or teams were nominated. In some cases, there were a tie, so there would be 5. From there on out, there's a month of final voting. The last votes happened after the Doha Beach Pro Tour finals, and then we put them together for our Beach Pro Tour Player Award. So it's all player voted. I don't even vote. I just assemble the votes, and then I disseminate the information to you. So congratulations to all of the players who podiumed, all the players who just participated on the Beach Pro Tour this year. It was a special season, and that's the way it goes with Olympic years. They're always special. Olympic years are the seasons in which legacies are made, where your legacies are cemented. This is where careers get remembered. As they say in The Sandlot, heroes get remembered, legends never die. Well, Olympic years are where legends happen. And we came into this year and we thought that we had it all figured out, right? We thought it was going to be Norway and Sweden on the men's side. Of course, we thought it was going to be Anna Patricia and Duda and Kelly Chang and Sarah Hughes and Kristen Nuss and Taryn Kloth on the women's side. And then we start in Doha in February. And what do we know? Because guess who just crashed the party? Stefan Bormans and York de Groot. They beat Norway not once but twice, and then they beat Sweden by a score they have never been beaten by or since in the finals, and suddenly we don't know anything. On the women's side, of course, we think we know a lot. Anna Patricia and Duda, best team in the world. Kristen Nuss, Taryn Kloth, one of the most consistent teams on the planet. Kelly Chang and Sarah Hughes, the reigning world champs. Surely one of them is going to win gold. As it turns out, neither of them were even in the finals. Kristen and Taryn barely broke pool, took a ninth. And then in the finals, of course, Carol Salgado, Barbara Seychelles, they win their first Elite 16 gold medal. Melissa Humana Paredes and Brandy Wilkerson, they beat Anna Patricia and Duda for the first time of their careers. They win a silver medal. And what do we know? And that's the way it went for the rest of the season. Every single stop on the Beach Pro Tour offered something special, either an individual performance, a team performance, an accolade, a statistical anomaly, something. Because sure enough, we go to Recife, and what does Evandro Goncalves do? He racks up 37 aces in a single tournament. We called it God mode. I've never seen anything like that. Evandro putting together a sensational performance in Recife. On the women's side, Lithuania's Monika Polakine and Aina Rapalaita, they win the first major medal in Lithuania beach volleyball history en route to the first berth to the Olympics for a Lithuanian team ever. History made already just in Recife. Now, of course, let's backtrack a little bit, because in Doha, again, we thought that the world was starting to make sense. Anouk Vergier-Dupre and Joanna Mader coming off that injury that Joanna had at the World Championships in 2023. Well, they finally retake the lead in the Olympic race over the plucky underdogs, the kids, Zoe Vergier-Dupre and Esme Bodner. And it was fair to think, as I thought on the road to Paris, that that was the way it was going to be. Anouk and Joanna were finally going to overtake the kids, and that was that. Well, every single event from there on out, the lead flipped. In Recife, it went back to Zoe. In Saquarema, went back to Anouk. In the next event in Guadalajara, Zoe and Esme, they win gold and retake the lead. And just when you think it was getting figured out in China, Anouk and Joanna make the finals. They retake the lead, and then they all go to Brazil. 45-hour to 50-hour itinerary. Both are in the qualifier. Well, Zoe and Esme, they come out, win bronze in Brasilia. The final punch needed, the last lead change, and Zoe and Esme, the plucky underdogs who could, they qualify for the Olympic Games. It was the most memorable race in a fascinating year of beach volleyball. But it wasn't just the Swiss women, although they did have an incredible run throughout these Olympics. To peak right after Zoe and Esme win their first gold medal as a team, well, guess who does it for the first time as well? Nina Brunner and Tanya Huberly put together the most magnificent season of their career. They win gold in Peak, becoming yet another power player, muddying up the rankings further of who could possibly win gold in the Paris Olympic Games. Nina and Tanya put together an incredible season. We'll be hearing much from them as it goes on. On and on it went, all the way up through the Paris Olympic Games. And of course, even in Paris, it didn't make a whole lot of sense because two teams drop 2 matches in pool play. Sweden's David Amann and Jonathan Helvig coming in as the heavy favorites. They'd made 9 straight finals. Well, what happens? They drop 2 matches in pool play. Melissa Humana Paredes and Brandy Wilkerson. They drop 2 matches in pool play. Where do they both wind up? The finals. Mel and Brandy, they end up taking silver, the first Olympic medal in Canadian beach volleyball history. A huge congratulations to them. Sweden, of course, they rebound all the way, win a gold medal, the first Olympic medal in Sweden beach volleyball history. They make it a gold one. A massive congratulations to David Amann and Jonathan Helvig. And Helvig, to me, put together the performance of the year in those Olympic finals. Just blocked Germany's Nils Ehlers and Clemens Wickler on the court. Was absolutely sensational. A massive congratulations to them. And I was talking to Theo Brunner after it, and he said it just feels justified when the right team wins the Olympic gold medal. Now, granted, the beach volleyball world wanted it to be Sweden versus Norway. Alas, that wasn't meant to be, as Germany stunned Norway in the semifinals. A tremendous semifinal match, by the way. However, Sweden, the most deserving team to win an Olympic gold on the men's side. And of course, as soon as we were wondering, would power be restored in the beach volleyball world? It was, with Ana Patricia Silva and Duda Lisboa winning the first Brazilian women's gold since 1996, before either of them were even born. So the best team of the Olympic quad on both the men and the women's side come home with a gold. Very deserving victories. Now, a lot of beach volleyball casual fans would end the season there, but there was a lot more to go. As after the Paris Olympics, so began the farewell tour that we started dubbing it on VBTV, where we had to say goodbye to a lot of the legends of the game. Laura Ludwig, we bid her goodbye, gave her flowers in Hamburg. Laura, one of the greatest sportswomen the game has ever known. We will be hearing her name later on in these Beach Pro Tour awards. But we also said goodbye to Pablo Herrera, and what a wonderful form we got to say goodbye to him in a silver medal, a most unexpected silver medal for Pablo Herrera and Adrian Gavira in their last professional tournament as partners. Herrera, 41 years old, looked ever so spry, was jumping over ball blocks, getting bloodied up, didn't matter, still made the finals, lost to backwards hat Anders Mol and Christian Sorm, who had a momentous performance of their own, passed Phil Dahlhauser and Todd Rogers as the third most winningest team of all time. They now stand number 2 alone. A big congratulations to them. It is just a matter of time until they become number 1 all time. But Pablo Herrera, to me, will be forever untouched number 1 all time. Played 11 world championships and 6 Olympic games. That longevity is a type of record. Baseball has it with Cal Ripken. Pablo Herrera will have it with beach volleyball. I think that is a record that will never be broken. We did not say goodbye to anyone in Joao Pessoa, but we did say hello to maybe the greatest men's final I've watched since the 2015 World Championships between Alison and Bruno and Reinder Numador and Christian Varenhorst. Anders Mol, Christian Sorm down 10-13 in the third set to Qatar's Sharif Yunus and Ahmed Tijan. They come all the way back, win a sensational final. If you haven't watched it, please rewatch it. But just as soon as I say that that's the best men's final of the season, well, 2 weeks later in Rio, they get one-upped by who? A pair of brothers, one from Argentina, Nico Capagrosso and Tomas Capagrosso. The other, the Bayo brothers, out of the qualifier, Javier and Joaquin. Incredible performance. Highly recommend you go back and watch both, as the Bayo brothers, well, that final that they won, their first Elite 16 medal of any color, let alone a gold, that pushed them to get the wild card in the Beach Pro Tour finals. So a tremendous season for the Bayos, tremendous season for the Capagrossos, tremendous season for everyone. And in Doha, the final event of the year, we bid goodbye to Agatha of Brazil. Wonderful, wonderful human being, wonderful sportswoman, as well as Paolo Nicolai, the legend from Italy. the greatest player in Italian beach volleyball history. And for Paolo, we're at least going to see him plenty. He will now be coaching the Italian Federation, and that's what him and Sam Codefava were laughing about. They're saying, well, we're saying goodbye kind of as partners, but we're going to be spending a lot more time on the Beach Pro Tour. But in Doha, order was alas restored. Just as soon as all order was being known to chaos, we have Christian Svokarat and Martin Splavins. They're winning European championships. They're beating Sweden. They're beating Norway. Order has been chaos all season long. It was restored as the men's final, Norway versus Sweden, won by Norway. Anders Mol Kristiansson with new coach Adrian Carambola. They had a little bone to pick in those Beach Pro Tour finals, saying our time at the top is not over yet. Meanwhile, on the women's side, Kristen Nuss, Taryn Cloth win a second consecutive Beach Pro Tour finals and a third straight for the American women. And order in the beach volleyball world was restored. As always, unforgettable season on the Beach Pro Tour, and it was a blast for me to cover it, both on the podcast with The Road to Paris on VBTV, and it is a blast for me, as always, to be the host of these player awards. Again, it was all player voted, and so we're going to get started with our men's team of the year. The nominees: Anders Mol and Christian Sorm of Norway, Stefan Bormans and Jork de Groot of the Netherlands, and of course from Sweden, David Ahlman and Jonathan Helvig. And the winner, by no surprise, really, Sweden's David Ahlman and Jonathan Helvig. By the most overwhelming majority, they received 90.4% of the votes, as they should have. They made 10 straight finals, 12 when including European championships. They won an Olympic gold. They've won a Beach Pro Tour finals. They've won everything there is to win. They were the best team on the Beach Pro Tour this season. Now, granted, after seeing the performance at the Doha Beach Pro Tour finals, a lot of fans maybe thinking Norway still number one. Sweden, however, from a whole season standpoint, they are king. The votes show it. Congratulations to our team of the year, David Ahlman and Jonathan Helvig. For our women's team of the year, the nominees are Ana Patricia Silva and Duda Lisboa of Brazil, Melissa Humana Paredes and Brandy Wilkerson of Canada, Tanya Huberly, Nina Brunner of Switzerland, and Sinja Tillman and Svenja Müller of Germany. And your winner is, for the second straight year, Ana Patricia Silva and Duda Lisboa. Now, how good are AP and Duda? This was, by many accounts, their worst season as a partnership and their worst season in some of their professional careers. The $31,000 they won in prize money, lowest of either their professional careers, lowest of their partnership. The 2 medals they won, that's the lowest Duda's won since 2015, when she was 17 years old. The 3-month stretch they went without a medal, longest of their partnership. And yet, that's how good they are. They're still Ana Patricia and Duda. They are still nominated, voted by their peers as the best team in the world. They are still the Olympic champions. They're still world champions, as they won in 2022 in Rome. They are the 2024 Beach Pro Tour Team of the Year. On to the individual awards, the men's most valuable player. And the nominees are David Ahlman of Sweden, Anders Mol of Norway, Jonathan Helvig, also of Sweden, all Scandinavian nominees so far, except for Europe's and Germany's Clemens Wickler. And the winner is, by 46.6% of the vote, David Ahlman. For the first time in his career, he has been voted the best player in the world, overtaking Anders Mol for that award. And I think that this is going to be a flip-flop that we see for years and years and years to come, because it's not just that Ahlman can make plays on offense, that he can make plays on defense, that he can serve well. He just finds a way to take over matches that really only one other person in the world can do, and that's Anders Mol. We're going to see these two trade this award back and forth many, many times over. As I was talking with Anders Mol at Joao Pessoa, saying, what's it like to play Sweden? And Anders said, this is a rivalry that we are so excited to see for decades and decades to come. Now, decades and decades, that would put Anders in his late 40s. So I don't know about decades, plural, but for a decade, maybe, it's going to be a treat for the beach volleyball world to see. A huge congratulations to David Ahlman for winning the MVP for the first time in his young and promising career. On to the women's most valuable player. The nominees are Ana Patricia Silva of Brazil, Duda, also of Brazil, Sinja Tillman of Germany, Brandy Wilkerson of Canada, and Nina Brunner of Switzerland. And like many categories on the women's side, this was decided by less than a handful of votes, which is less than 5. And the winner is, for the second straight year and the fourth time in her already illustrious career, Duda Lisboa of Brazil. How good is Duda? Well, Rich Lamborn, the great commentator on VBTV, and his deadpan humor, he calls Ana Patricia and Duda these tortured geniuses, right? Because it just seems like they can do whatever they want, especially Duda. She's always nominated for Best Defensive Player, routinely nominated for Best Server of the Year, which she has won before. Always nominated for MVP. She won it last year, won it again this year. There is no one in the world like Duda. I mentioned with the men that Anders Mol and David Amon have this ability to take over matches like no other. Well, Duda can take over a match like no other women in the world, and that is why she is your Beach Pro Tour MVP of the 2024 season. On to the defense. Men's Best Defensive Player. Your nominees are David Amon, Sweden, heard of him, Ahmed Tijan of Qatar, York de Groot of the Netherlands, and another nominee for Germany's Clemens Wickler. And your winner by an overwhelming majority, yet again, surprise, surprise, is David Amon of Sweden. It's crazy commentating David Amon because it's not just that he's making digs, it's that we're ready to call a play dead. And there's Amon wheeling in from off the screen, not just making a dig, but popping it up perfectly. So now Jonathan Helvig has the option to put it away on 2, to jump set. And it's not just that Amon is digging it, popping up, and giving himself an opportunity to approach. He's wheeling around for a back set, jump set, open net, bounce down. He is changing the game on defense, and that is why David Amon, your MVP, is also your 2024 Men's Defensive Player of the Year. On to the Women's Best Defensive Player. Your nominees are Switzerland's Nina Brunner, Canada's Melissa Humana Paredes, USA's Kristen Nuss, and Brazil's Duda Lisboa. And your winner is, for the second straight year, Kristen Nuss. Now again, this was decided by 2 votes between Nuss and Nina Brunner, and Kristen Nuss, for the second straight year, is your winner. Now, why Nuss? At just 5'6", it is mandatory. It's not an option for her to be one of the best defensive players in the world. You go through the stats, and leading almost every single tournament in total digs is Kristen Nuss. She is just, as they say in Ted Lasso about Roy Keane, she's here, she's there, she's every effing where. Kristen Nuss. And that is why she is your 2024 Beach Pro Tour Defensive Player of the Year. On to your Men's Best Offensive Player. Your nominees are, so this is a 5er, which means that there were 4 nominees and a tie for 5th. Anders Mol of Norway, David Amon, heard of him, of Sweden, Sharif Yunus, Qatar, Jonathan Helvig, Sweden, and Evandro Goncalves of Brazil. And your winner, yet again, for the second straight year and the 4th time of his already illustrious, all-time iconic career, Anders Mol. Now, we knew that Anders was exceptionally talented prior to Joao Pessoa, prior to the Doha Beach Pro Tour Finals, and yet in Joao Pessoa, we saw a side of Anders we'd never seen before, going on to at a rate we'd never seen before. And Christian Storm says, where's this? Finally you're taking it on to. How good was Anders Mol on to? 80% side out according to Beach data on options. That is obscene. 72% he sided out on a normal pass, set, hit, contact. He is your best offensive player in the world. Any questions? Go rewatch the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals of the Beach Pro Tour Finals. He was unstoppable. That's why they won another Beach Pro Tour Finals, and that is why Anders Mol is your 2024 Offensive Player of the Year. On to Women's Best Offensive Player. Your nominees are Ana Patricia Silva of Brazil, Brandy Wilkerson of Canada, Valentina Guittardi of Italy, and Duda Lisboa, also of Brazil. And just as we had a year ago, it was a 1-2 finish from 2 individuals on the same team, Ana Patricia and Duda. However, it is a reverse. Last year was Ana Patricia Silva who won. This year in 2024, Duda Lisboa is your 2024 Offensive Player of the Year. How good is Duda? Again, we'll ask that question. Well, Duda, she has some of the best vision in the world, and she uses it exceptionally well. She shoots a little bit more than you might expect with a woman possessing maybe the heaviest arm in the world. Yet when she swings, her side-out percentage in side-out goes up 3%. Her transition percentage when she swings goes up from 54% to 71%. That's how good Duda is that she can almost choose, well, I could put it away the easy way just by swinging every time, putting it away 71% and 68% inside out. Or, well, I can challenge myself a little bit. I can shoot a little bit. I can swing here and there. But when Duda wants to put the foot down, when she wants to end the rally, she ends the rally. And that's why she's a world champ. That's why she is an Olympic champ. That's why she is your 2024 Offensive Player of the Year. On to Men's Best Blocker. Your nominees are Anders Mole of Norway, Jonathan Helvig of Sweden, Nils Ehlers of Germany, and a bit of a surprise nominee, Joaquin Bayo of England, the 6'1" blocker from England. Love to see small blockers making their way up. However, it would not be a small blocker who wins the Blocker of the Year. It is, surprise, surprise, Anders Mole, for the fourth time and the second straight time in his illustrious career, winning the Beach Pro Tour Blocker of the Year. Anders, I'm always convinced, came in on an alien spaceship. You can't teach the way he blocks because he just blocks way outside the body. He makes these moves, he just hangs and waits, and then quick goes to the left. He makes reads that shouldn't be made. And when he is on one at the net, there is no more dominant presence than Anders Bernsen Mole, your 2024 Blocker of the Year. Women's Best Blocker. Your nominees are Ana Patricia Silva of Brazil, Brandy Wilkerson of Canada, Tanya Huberly of Switzerland, Taryn Kloth of the United States of America, and Valentina Gottardi of Italy. And your winner is, by the largest majority of any category on the women's side, for the second straight year, Brandy Wilkerson. There's this anecdote that I think tells you everything you need to know about how good of a blocker Brandy Wilkerson is. At the Beach Pro Tour Finals, first round of pool play against Germany's Sinja Tillman and Svenja Müller, Wilkerson blocks one so straight down that the ball lands on her own foot. She turns around and gives this DeAndre Jordan look and Mel, of course, looks, and we had her mic'd up, and she goes, "That's disgusting."
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Now, in athletics, there are a couple terms that are total compliments that in real life might be otherwise insulting. Calling someone disgusting, calling someone a freak. Well, in an athletic context, being called a freakishly disgusting blocker is one of the highest compliments you can receive. And so Brandy Wilkerson, as a human, you're not freakishly disgusting. Wonderful human being. As a blocker, can make moves like Anders Mole. You cannot teach. You cannot replicate. She is one of a kind. She is your 2024 Blocker of the Year. On to the survey. Men's Best Server. Your nominees are Evandro Goncalves of Brazil, Anders Mole of Norway, Ahmed Tijan of Qatar, Steven van de Velde of the Netherlands, and Clemens Wickler of Germany. And your winner is, by, yet again, an overwhelming majority, for the seventh time in his career, Evandro Goncalves. He could have hung it up after his 37 ace performance in Recife, and he would have had it won then. But he just kept piling it on, and piling it on, and piling it on. Gold medal after gold medal after gold medal. I remember watching the finals of the Brasilia Elite 16, and he was at the service line, and he was down to Van de Velde and Immers. And I said on the comms, if Evandro gets this point, Brazil's going to win the set. You got to get him off the line. What do you know? Ace for Evandro, end up winning the set, end up winning the match, end up winning a gold medal. No one can take over the match at the service line like Evandro. He could retire today and go down as the greatest server of all time, and that's a record just like Pablo Herrera's longevity record. I don't think that would ever be passed. I think Evandro will go down as the greatest server in the history of beach volleyball, and he is certainly the greatest server of our time, and he is the greatest server of the 2024 Beach Pro Tour season. Women's Best Server. Your nominees are Brandy Wilkerson, Canada; Esme Bobner, Switzerland; Valentina Gottardi of Italy; and Louisa Lippmann of Germany. And your winner is Esme Bobner. So I can't take credit for this. Early in the season, I saw Esme in the comments. Someone called her Esme Bobner, and that just stuck. That's how good of a server Esme Bobner is. She has this nasty, wicked float serve that caught people all season long, ace after ace after ace. That's what led her and Zoe Vergier-Dupre. That's one of the many variables, of course, that led her and Zoe Vergier-Dupre to an Olympic appearance, and not just an appearance, a 5th place at the Olympics, a bronze medal at the European Championships, and that is what has led Esme Bobner to a 2024 Server of the Year. On to Men's Most Improved Player. Your nominees are Joaquin Bayo of England; Nazem Diaz of Cuba; Jorge Alayo, also of Cuba; and Nils Ehlers of Germany. This, for the men's race, was the closest one we had, and the winner is the Berlin Wall, Nils Ehlers. Nils passed all the tests you could have. So he's partnered with Clemens Wickler, one of the greatest players in the world, and yet his side out, better than Wickler. He's one of the best blockers in the world. That is why Germany, in every event but one, finished in the top 5. That's why Germany won a silver medal at the 2024 Olympic Games. That's why Germany was always competing for medals. Nils Ehlers, he is here to stay. He is your 2024 Most Improved Player. Women's Most Improved Player. Your nominees are Zoe Vergier-Dupre of Switzerland; Megan Kraft of the United States; Valentina Gottardi of Italy; and Daniela Alvarez, both of Texas Christian University and of Spain. And your winner is Zoe Vergier-Dupre. Zoe was she's one of those athletes where you watch her beat some good teams, and she was the plucky underdog. She was okay, she could beat a team here and there, but this year her and Esme made the switch from the underdog who might beat you to the favorites. That's because Zoe became an elite defender, an elite server, an elite offensive player, and an elite transition player. She is the complete package, to the point that when her partner Esme Bobner retired, congratulations to her on a short but brilliant career, guess who picked up Zoe? One of the best players in Swiss beach volleyball history, Anouk Vergier-Dupre, and they have a new landmark partnership. So Anouk, congratulations to you. You picked up the 2024 Most Improved Player. On to the rookies. Men's Rookie of the Year. Christian Sfokarats of Latvia; Jorge Alayo of Cuba; Nazem Diaz of Cuba; Javi Bayo, England; and Timo Hammerberg of Austria. All names you should take note of, but there is one in particular who won by a large majority. That is Christian Sfokarats. What a year the teenager had. So him and Martins Plavins, they entered the European Championships on the reserve list, and they come out to win a most unexpected of gold medals. And everyone was asking, I got to watch, how did they beat Nils Ehlers and Clemens Wickler? Well, it wasn't just Ehlers and Wickler they beat in the finals. They went over and they beat Sweden and they beat Norway in the same tournament in Rio de Janeiro, completing what Plavins called his bucket list for the season, beating Europe's big three, beating the world's big three. And now Sfokarats, he had 9 blocks in a single match in João Pessoa. And he's just one of the brightest talents we're going to see for a long, long time. He's the new mold of blocker. 6'5", mobile, jump setting, optioning, aggressive, physical. We're going to be seeing him for a long time to come. Christian Sfokarats is your Men's Rookie of the Year. On to your Women's Rookie of the Year. Your nominees are Megan Kraft of the United States; Giada Bianchi of Italy; Rekka Orsi-Toth, also of Italy; and Lexi Denenberg of the United States. And your winner is Megan Kraft. It blows my mind still that Megan was competing at USC just 6 months ago as a coach at Florida State University. I am stoked to say that she is gone. Same goes for Rekka and Giada and Lexi Denenberg. But Megan, how good was she? 4 straight medals to end the season. 3 straight Elite 16, starting with a silver at the Stade Elite 16 out of the qualifier. Bronze in Vienna, silver in Rio, silver at the Beach Pro Tour Finals. Meg and Therese Cannon, one of the best teams in the United States, one of the best teams in the world. And Meg is just a rookie. She's just getting started. Very bright future ahead for Megan Kraft, your 2024 Rookie of the Year. On to the intangibles. Your Sportsman of the Year. Your nominees are Paolo Nicolai of Italy, Stefan Bormans of the Netherlands, Christian Sorum of Norway, and Pablo Herrera of Spain. Very close vote here, and the winner is Paolo Nicolai, one of the best players on the court and just such a gentleman off of it. I spoke at length about it at the Doha Beach Pro Tour Finals. He is just the player that everyone wants to chat with in the cafes, get dinner with, hang out with. He's always asking you how you're doing. He's always a good sport. He is going to be missed as a player, but we are stoked to still have him in the game as a coach of the Italian Federation. We are happy to be seeing Paolo Nicolai throughout the rest of his new career as a coach on the Beach Pro Tour. He is your 2024 Sportsman of the Year. On to the women. Your Sportswoman of the Year. Your nominees are Melissa Humano-Perez of Canada, Nina Brunner of Switzerland, Anouk Verger-Dupré, also of Switzerland. Something about the Swiss. They're just sweet women. And Lara Ludwig of Germany. And the winner is, for the last time in her career, Lara Ludwig. I don't think I've ever met anybody with a more contagious, infectious, joyful smile than Lara Ludwig. Everywhere you go, she's smiling, be it on the warm-up courts, on the court, off the court, in the restaurants, in the weight room, wherever it may be, on the mic as she joined us in Hamburg. Lara Ludwig, she is just a pocket full of sunshine, one of the best women this game has ever known, and we are sad to see her go. I expect to see her around the sport. You can't be a five-time Olympian and just leave us like that, Lara. I'm sure that we'll be seeing you around. But Lara Ludwig, for the second time, I believe, in her career, is your 2024 Sportswoman of the Year. Now, we have two categories left. One is a category that I do call my own. This is something that Kevin Barnett did when he ran the Net Live that I thought was important to do. This is the Beach Volleyball Man of the Year. I call it the St. John Smith Award. Someone who has gone out of their way to promote and grow the game of beach volleyball. And that man this year is Mark Pataluhi. So for those of you who don't know Mark Pataluhi, he was a former player on the AVP. He is the co-founder of Sand Court Experts, building sand volleyball courts around the country, around the world. And he is also the man who saw a problem, and that Hermosa Beach was not on the domestic schedule this year. And instead of griping about it on social media, instead of demanding someone else take action, he just said, okay, I'm going to make this happen. He went to the city. They formed an agreement. We're going to have this the second weekend of September. He put in $15,000 of his own money from his own company. He then scrounged up $200,000 total dollars, signed a contract with VBTV, brought in international players on U.S. soil for the first time in recent memory, and he put together a tremendous event with zero incentive. Mark got nothing out of it other than the satisfaction of seeing an event in Hermosa Beach. To me, the most special place in beach volleyball is the South Bay of California. That's Hermosa and Manhattan Beach. Mark did it with zero thanks, zero financial incentive, zero clout incentive. He doesn't even have social media aside from Facebook. He just did it because he wanted beach volleyball in Hermosa. And guess what? He signed a 3-year extension to have that event back in Hermosa Beach every year, the second week of September. So congratulations to Mark. We owe you a great debt of gratitude for putting on that event with no incentive other than you just wanted to do it for the game. That's why you are my 2024 Man of the Year. Last category, the Event of the Year. Always like to do this because I think that a huge overdue thanks goes to the promoters putting on the events, the hosts putting on the events, those who take a big financial risk, those who work with the cities to put on these events. And your nominees are the Vienna Elite 16, the Stade Elite 16, the Paris Olympic Games, and the Brasilia Elite 16. And anybody who saw that venue in Paris knew that this was not even going to be a close fight. It goes to the Paris Olympic Games. That venue at the foot of the Eiffel Tower, 12,000 seats, that was packed for every match except for maybe one when it got rained out. Everyone had to leave except for, guess who? LeBron James, who got to watch the finish of Taryn Cloth and Kristen Nuss against China's Chen Xu and Xin Yisha. And I'll never forget Taryn's reaction when she looked up into the stands thinking it was all empty, and she sees LeBron. She just goes, "Oh my God, it's LeBron." It was a special moment to watch, special moment for TKN and that whole Olympics. A huge congratulations to everyone who got to play in that venue. Iconic, absolutely iconic, as was the whole 2024 Beach Pro Tour season. Again, thank you so much for allowing me to present these awards to you, the players, the fans. It was a blast to cover this season on the Beach Pro Tour, and we only have bigger, brighter things coming in 2025. Thank you to producers 1, 2, and in a couple months, producer 3. Thank you to Frito, our guy behind the sexy edits on the video, putting together all the magic. And thank you to Finn Taylor, the Volleyball World team, for traveling us out and for covering this wonderful sport. We will see you all in 2025.
Shoot.